I got familiar with frugal living and budgeting, I used to struggle living paycheck to paycheck, and I wanted to share 6 habits that might be keeping you in that same cycle and how to get out of it. Happy Frugal Friday, friends. I'm so happy to see you here today. Let's get right into it. The first habit that might be keeping you living paycheck to paycheck is continuing to say yes when it's not in the budget. Now, there's a few reasons that we do this. The first one might be as simple as you don't want to hurt your friend or family member's feelings. So you're like, in the back of your mind, you're like, I really don't have this in the budget right now, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you're like, yeah, let's do that. The second reason you might say yes when it's not in the budget is you're embarrassed because it's not in your budget and you kind of wish it was. And so you're like, well, I don't want to seem like I don't have money and I can't afford it. So I'm going to say yes and appear that I do just so I'm not embarrassed about it. I feel like that's super common, especially when funds are low. Can anyone relate? And the third reason you might say yes when it's not in your budget is because A, you don't budget, or B, you're not really keeping an eye on that budget. You're not really sure how much you have for each category. So you're kind of guesstimating, but you're really not sure because you're not tracking. So it's kind of a mystery, but you just kind of go, it'll be okay. I'll deal with it later. Continuing to say yes to things when it's not in the budget can just keep you in that cycle of living paycheck to paycheck because you're never going to get ahead when you keep overspending. So the best way to attack this head on is to set yourself a budget, create the budget, track all of your spending, and then be accountable for every penny you spend. If you need help creating your first budget, I am here for you, you guys. I've got a video. I will leave it down in the description for you to check out next so that you can create that budget and get a handle on it because you are going to be so much more confident in your finances and get you out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle way faster than you can even believe once you start doing it. This will also increase your knowledge and your confidence in your knowledge about your own finances. So when somebody says, hey, you want to go to this concert with me and the concert ticket's $400, you will know, do you have $400 that you want to spend toward this experience, or is this not even in the cards for you? And you can clearly say to them and not be ashamed, but I'm choosing not to spend money on that right now, but thank you so much for asking. Maybe another time in the future. The second habit that might keep you living paycheck to paycheck is not looking at your bank account, or in my case, my federal credit union account, regularly. You guys know that this has become a daily habit for me now, and I'm telling you, it has changed how I look at my finances because it's always in the forefront of my thoughts when it comes to my money, and I'm not just letting it slide. And this even happens for me right now. If I don't keep a close eye on it, I can kind of let it get away from me. For example, with my groceries right now, I don't want to be as accountable for how much I'm spending with these groceries because it's higher than I've ever spent in my life for 2 reasons you guys know. Inflation, of course, and I am eating healthy and I'm choosing to spend more money. But it's when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh gosh, but this is something I'm choosing right now and I'm well aware of it and I'm okay with it. But I'm keeping an eye out because I could just keep spending and not look at that statement and then just be like, it'll be fine. If you don't know what's in your accounts, it's way more easy to be in denial about what you actually have. K-Squad, I don't want you in denial. It is a hard path to go down when you don't know what you bring in and what you're spending. So if you're looking at your accounts, I do it daily, but even weekly would be super helpful if you've never done it before. Creating a habit of looking at your statements so you know exactly where you stand and there's no mystery and you can work from this knowledge of, okay, this is what I've got, this is what I'm spending, and know what's in there. It can be a game changer. If you never look, I'm telling you, this is going to open your eyes and you're going to feel so much more comfortable once you know what's there. But the other part about that I just want to add, I want you to know that beyond the fear of looking at the reality of what you're actually spending, the fear, the denial, that can be really overwhelming. Don't do that to yourself. Let's face up to it. Let's go into it. And the other thing is, if you don't have the budget from tip number 1, and you keep underestimating how much you're spending, if you're not actually tracking it, this estimation could be way off if you are not in the habit of doing this. I think that is why a lot of people don't create the budget for as long as they possibly can, because when you start seeing the numbers and how much you're spending on food and entertainment and other things that you indulge in, or maybe it's just not even something like fancy, but just the actual, wow, this is what I'm spending on gas now. When you have the knowledge and you have the actual numbers, it can be astounding. So you want to make sure we're getting into the practice of being real about all this. We've got to keep it real, K Squad, and we've got to know what the actual numbers are so that we can work with the reality of the situation and then make adjustments from there. We're in this together, remember? So let's face it, and let's, if you got to talk about it, you got questions in the comments, leave it down below so that we can work through it, because I don't want you to be fearful of your budget or looking at your accounts. They're both crucial in your financial health. If you've made it this far in the video and you want to create new habits so that you can stop living paycheck to paycheck, please type in the comments, new habits, and I will know you've made it this far in the video and that you're ready to commit to some new habits that are going to be more helpful than harmful. Number 3 is browsing websites you are known for splurging on. I'll give you an example for myself. Back in the day, Bath and Body Works to me was a playground. In my mind, I thought it was my duty for my home to smell at its absolute peak best. And I didn't feel like candles and wallflowers and body washes and all that stuff that I could live without them, kind of. Like they needed to be in the house in order for my house to function at its best. That's not true. But in my mind, when I would do like a haul, that makes me laugh. Like, have you ever seen me do a haul? It's not really my style. Maybe a grocery haul once in a while, but that's, there's a lot of channels with like hauls from this store and hauls from that store. I don't haul anymore, but Bath and Body Works used to be that one where I'd be like, oh, and I need this candle in this scent, and now it's spring, and I need the margarita scented candle, and now it's fall, and I definitely need pumpkin this, and it just felt like that's what I should be doing. So anyway, if you are living paycheck to paycheck, this has to be a thing of the past or a thing that's put on pause until conditions improve. You don't need that stuff. I'm almost positive. You know what I mean? So if there's a website that is your downfall, unsubscribe to all the emails for a bit. Delete it from your saved websites on your computer. Get it out of your sight until you are in a place where you feel you can look at it and order responsibly and in control. You want to make as many obstacles between you and that website in the meantime. It might be just a temporary thing, but give it a shot. When you start ordering out of control, you have this feeling of guilt, right? You might even feel the need. Ladies and gentlemen, please confess in the comments. Have you ever bought so much from somewhere you actually hide it from a spouse or another family member so it didn't appear that you did that? I know people that have had stuff delivered to their work address so their husbands didn't know that they were ordering that. That's a true story. If you feel that you need to hide your purchases, my grandmother used to buy a bunch of stuff, put it in the closet. I mean, it still have the tags on it. And then she'd slowly, like piece by piece, take it out. And then my grandfather would be like, you got another new shirt? She's like, oh, this old thing, it's been in there forever. If that's the mode you are operating in, just give it a thought. Do you want to be feeling shameful of your purchases? Do you really need this many of that? Just take a time to pause. And again, unsubscribe for just a little bit. Get rid of the temptation. Take it off your plate for a little while. Just take those websites, take it off your plate, give yourself a break. I'm using a lot of arm gestures. I really want you to get this. I really want you to feel this. Do you feel it, K-Squad? Just stop looking at them for a little bit. Just a little bit. The fourth habit that might be keeping you living paycheck to paycheck is using your credit card as an extension of your income. This is a slippery slope for many people. I am at a point where I happily use my credit card, get reward points, pay it off every month, and I am in a comfortable place with that. I have gotten into a good habit. I'm not pretending that that money is part of my salary, because it's not. I only ever spend what I've already made. So if you are a person, now listen, I'm not telling you I was always like this. There was one point in my younger years, in my 20s, that I had credit card debt up to $10,000. And I was just using it like it was free. Free. It wasn't free. And $10,000 later, I was like, ooh, the ramifications are not immediate when you start doing that because it's a slow build in most cases. So you might be thinking like, oh, I'm fine. I'm making ends meet with this, but it is not an income. Credit card credit is not your income. So don't treat it as such. I am not against credit cards, you guys. I think you know this about me. I'm into them when they are used responsibly and appropriately. But if you are in a place where you have to actually use a credit card to make your bills paid, you've got to figure out what you're going to do to either cut those bills down or make more money because credit cards are not income. The fifth habit that might be keeping you living paycheck to paycheck is constantly complaining you don't make enough money, but you don't do anything about it. Sometimes making more money is not the problem, it's how you're spending it. So the first thing, of course, you want to do is if you are constantly saying to your friends and family or to yourself, I don't make enough money, you need to really look at this picture, right? You need to create the budget. I know I talk about budgets all the time, guys, but I do not know where I would be financially if I hadn't gotten into budgeting. I love budgeting. I sound like the biggest budget nerd, but I am, because when I became a single parent, if I hadn't started budgeting, I really don't know what would have happened, you guys. I probably wouldn't have this channel because I would have been so lost. And when I finally got my arms around it and I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense, I started to share it with you so that it could be helpful for those that were struggling with a similar situation or just wanted to get in touch with, all right, how do I manage my money and make this work? So it could be you don't have enough income. When you put your income in, you write down your income, you subtract all your expenses. If you're in the red, then it might be an income problem. You've got to comb through the budget, see if there's anything you can reduce, cut. Is there anything I can really live without here? I've been spending too much on this and I can really be without it? Give that a shot first. But if you need more income, don't just keep racking up credit cards and complaining about it. And I'm sorry if this sounds like tough love, but maybe you need a part-time job on top of it. And this all depends on, of course, your family situation. Does your partner need to? If you are not with a partner, is it you? Do you have to work weekends and nights for a little bit? Can I pick up a side hustle? What do I need to do to afford the lifestyle I have created? Or what can I cut back on to start having a lifestyle that fits my budget? Number 6, I know this is going to sound counterintuitive, but never giving any of your money away. This was a hard lesson for me growing up. Things in my childhood I never went without, but things were either really good or sometimes things got pretty bad and you just had to adjust, right? So giving away money felt scary for me for a long time because what if I needed it, right? So I am currently reading Things That Matter by Joshua Becker. I will leave a link in the description if you want to pick up your copy. You guys know I love Joshua Becker, love his content. Joshua, I'm just going to let you know, I started the beginning and then I fast forwarded right to the money chapter because you know I had to know your thoughts on that. And honestly, you guys, it was like one of those, everything, I should probably do another whole video on it, but everything that I like wanted to hear, he was saying. And I was like, oh, I just want this to be true. And I want to have a more generous heart, even though I have gotten a more generous heart over time. But the point being, if you are holding so tightly to your money and never thinking about others and always just worried about you, I would encourage you to open your heart to give a little bit of money away once in a while. And he gives an exercise that I think is excellent. I will talk about it for a second. He says, this is on page 100, try this. If you're stressed about money, which is apparently 70% of us, the quickest way to alleviate that stress and change your outlook is to give some money away. Literally the opposite of what you've been trying in the past. Try this as an experiment. Give away $5 this week. At the end of the week, see if you still have food, a roof, and clothing. You will. Your needs will still be met. Test it out next week. After a few weeks of your needs being met, try giving $10 a week. Again, you will discover that there is food on your table and a roof over your head. The goal here is not to give away just a few dollars per week. The goal is to notice how your needs are being met and how you had extra to spare. In that moment, you will discover the greatest benefit of generosity. It changes our understanding of enough. This part of the book talks a lot about money-wise, like when is having enough enough? It shows us how much we have to give and how much good we can accomplish. It helps us see the needs of those we live alongside and begins to alleviate them. I'm telling you, as soon as I finished reading that chapter, I ran to my computer and I made a donation to our local food pantry who I know needs it. I loved this chapter, guys. I think you will really enjoy this book. I'm not done yet, but as you can tell, I'm in progress. Thank you, Joshua Becker, for your wonderful content. I read Joshua's work and I listen to his videos when I need to feel calm and stay focused on the important things in Things That Matter, overcoming distraction to pursue a more meaningful life. This is like my quest all the time, you guys, is to remove distractions and focus on the things that matter. And I feel like this book is super helpful. You're gonna love it. He always brings things back to center. I love his approach to life. Bun says hi. Now is your turn. Out of these 6 habits, are there any of them that you currently participate in that you want to work on? Let me know in the comments which is the one that you are going to think about and consider if you can change it up a little so that you can stop living paycheck to paycheck. Or if you are no longer living paycheck to paycheck at all, please leave in the comments for the K Squad, what is the one thing that you did that changed the whole game for you so that you could get out of the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck? We would love to know. We love reading through the comments and hearing what the K Squad has to offer. If you like this kind of content, you like talking about frugal living, budgeting, and saving money, please hit subscribe at this time, hit the like button, and I can't wait to see you all in the next video. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye.